a bard and druid, of course, as in the description. And as you can see, my mini me is budding up nicely. So that means we've just passed spring equinox, and we're into the busy season of the garden. I've learnt a few things recently about sowing seeds. One of them is to read the packets. It's always a good idea. There's a lot of information here about what you can do. It says sow indoors, January to April. It's the end of March, so that's ideal. Sow seeds onto moist, well-drained seed compost. And we have some moist, well-drained seed compost, and just cover with soil. So that's really all it's telling us. It's not germination takes 7 to 14 days. So I think, yeah, that's to be expected. I'm going to sow, I think, 1 row of beef black Russians and 2 rows of black cherry tomatoes. That will be enough. That's as much as I actually need. I'll just put a very, very slight dent. I mean, hardly at all. The tomato seeds are tiny, and even that dent could be a little on the deep side. Let's do 2 rows of cherries. So I'm going to use this little pot here. I just find that makes life a little bit easier. I haven't really got, it's quite low on seeds here, so chances are, oh, that's probably, there's more than 12 there, aren't there? I might even stick 2 in each one, maybe. Need to be quite careful about contaminating the seeds. Even doing this, I mean, this is probably about the best, but you can still put soil on them and things like that, which means you then, or get them, the last thing you want to do is get them damp, and then of course they won't keep. And we'll stick some beefies in this row. Do the same. I'm actually putting 2 seeds into each cell, and I will then choose the strongest seedling from there. Okay, and the most important thing to do is labels. We've got some black cherries, and it's really, really good to actually put a date, just to remind yourself of when you sowed them. Although, because I do things by the moon, it's only really necessary for me to put what month I sowed them in, because I know I would have sowed them on a new moon regardless. Yes, you do sometimes get 2 new moons in a month, and we'll deal with that when we get there. So I'm just gonna push a little bit of compost back on top, and I'm really not going to do anything much more exciting than that, because even this could be too much. You know, these seeds are tiny and they want to be quite close to the surface, really. The compost needs to be the height of the seeds, which, as you can see, so I'm slightly burying these. I know from past experience that these will probably come up. Just going to stick some hollyhocks in And these are huge. I mean, nice big seeds. Get for hollyhocks, which makes them quite easy. With hollyhocks, you don't really want to bury them. They work much better on top of the soil, although on top of the compost. The one thing you do need to consider slightly when you do that is how you keep them moist. And with the hollyhocks, I'm just literally going to press them into the compost a bit. Not really even going to properly bury them. They like. Well, let's read the packet, shall we? Sow indoors. February to April. So yeah. Surface sow individual seeds, 20 millimeters apart, onto moist, well-drained seed compost. Just cover with a sprinkling of soil. Ideal temperature between 15 and 21 degrees centigrade. Germination takes 14 days. Now, the problem I have here in my little conservatory is actually it has a tendency to get too warm. So there will be a point at which I can no longer raise things like hollyhocks indoors. Already spinach doesn't work. It's too hot indoors for spinach. And I'm finding that I do better raising them out of doors. Just gently water them in. And off we go again, making holes. Well, I really ought to read the packets first, actually. Let's see, what do they want? Surface sow. Okay, so yeah, maybe don't want to. I'm just going to make the sort of smallest of dents there. Borage wants to be 10 millimeters deep, so we'll give that right down to the line, like that. And what does it say for pinks? Pinky pinks. Surface sow. So I'm just gonna put a wee dent. That's not really in the middle, is it? Just really to help me aim more than anything else. Okay, I'm going to stick the labels in before I even begin, just to remind myself of where I'm going to sow things. Good. Okay, so first, poached eggs. These are funny old things. They're quite big seeds. So it's quite weird that they should be surface sown, actually, because they are so big. But I'll stick probably a couple of these in each cell. Basically, I want to get all my poached eggs going now. There's not really going to be much point in sowing them later in the year. Yeah, I think that's just going to be a single row of pinks, isn't it? I mean, who knows? Maybe. No, that's just going to be a single row. Yeah. I'll do some more borage instead. Use all these up. Just barely cover these with soil. I mean, it really hardly at all. And just sort of press them down into it. The reason I'm growing poached eggs is because they attract things like hoverflies, beneficial predators I believe they are called, and they are really good for eating aphids, I believe. So we're not quite at Easter yet. Easter's about 2 weeks away, and this is my garden, such as it is. I've taken some of the fleece back just so you can see what I've got growing there, and that's what the world looks like from my chair here. Down here you can see the chamomile I planted last year, all doing very well, and I'm going to add some more to that so it can spread out a bit amongst the grass. There's a whole load of shoots, apple shoots coming up in there that I've got to find some way of dealing with. I don't really know, I just have to keep pulling them out really. Can't think of anything better. Over here is this is becoming my flower bed. I did have artichokes in here last year, but I'm sort of discouraging them at the moment. Here I can do my Beatles joke, why don't we do it in the woad? Yep, as you can see they are looking like, well, I think they're flowering, aren't they, already? I mean, they've just gone spring equinox and the woad is already. So obviously more puns. I've been dying to grow these for some time. That's an aquilegia in the middle there. I've just sown some more hollyhock seeds, and as you can see there's a few coming up already. These are mostly black and red hollyhocks, depending on the new ones are actually going to be black. The red ones are the same species, but they're saved seeds. They come out red, and there are some yellow ones, some very tall yellow ones in there as well. And this is, just for the sort of no dig fun of it, that's a little new bed. It's in a remarkably shady place, and I'm not sure it's really going to be that much good, but we shall see. I shall probably try planting rhubarb in there. Over here, this bit of wood is covering some new first lot of carrots, and I'm gonna cover this bed. These raised beds will get covered with netting probably rather soon. Nothing much is, as you can see, my compost this year is incredibly weedy because it didn't really get hot enough last year. I'm hoping that my new composting station is actually going to get hotter. Now these are looking a little bit sad, but that's because they're in shock. These are sorrel plants that I literally just moved yesterday from where I don't want them to somewhere where they can actually be, because they're perennials, and this is something I'm learning about siting of plants. Obviously you want perennials somewhere where they can stay, you're not sort of moving them around with the other vegetables. I don't know whether these will work out, they might, but I've also got some new seedlings to follow them up with. And the idea of this bit here is really to create a sort of a green barrier for this, because this is going to be quite a haven for slugs. Not much I can do about that. So I'm basically just trying to distract them. Here's another transplant. I moved the comfrey because it's a pest, but I do want some. It's actually a very, very useful herb, so I have given them some living space over here. It doesn't matter quite so much if they spread here, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, they are a bit vicious. a bit closer in, these are my artichokes, and as you can see, loads of them. So we probably should get quite a lot of artichokes. They haven't started flowering remotely yet, but we should get loads of artichokes later in the spring. And I've got a little, there's a bit in the shade here, but it's my little salad bed. I mean, these things actually don't mind the shade too much. Look at the forsythia. Isn't that beautiful? It's just literally flowered again just now. I haven't even got any leaves yet. This is a flowers first bush, and it looks very pretty at the moment. Isn't it lovely? These are, I've decided to grow potatoes in containers this year. So that's what these are. The 3 big ones at the back have got 2 potatoes in, and each of these little ones have just got a single seed potato. Yeah, and we'll see what happens to them. I think I'm probably going to be harvesting them some point in July. But these are the broad beans, and they're going mental. So I'm going to have beans on. I mean, that's within the month, isn't it? There will be beans probably at some point in April, and there we go. These ones were overwintered, and I was a bit worried because I planted them rather early, if you watched any of those videos, and some of them, these ones here, got considerable frost damage, but I'm noticing they tiller up well. You see there. So that will probably produce a plant. I've also stuck some extras in here, so if these don't work out, we'll get some younger plants coming up, and they will probably provide beans later in the year. This is last year's chard, and my goodness, I mean, look at it. I ate some of this last night. It will go to seed at some point. It's going to bolt, at which point I will hoik them out, but for now, that's a lot of food. That's a lot of food coming my way. And here, look, now just to compare, so I probably did take a little bit of this only a couple of days ago. Look, I mean, this is already, the borage is just flowering. Isn't it beautiful? So yeah, the bees will be very, very happy with that. So here I've been trying out some winter sowing. Nothing's come up yet, and we shall see. I'm not sure it's been cold enough for these. So I've got some fritillaries there, hellebore, arnica, which I haven't got, I'm not holding out too much hope for, an aquilegia, which should come up. I've already managed to grow some aquilegia last year, so these probably would eventually come up. Now we'll see. This is an experiment. I got this idea from Holly May's Good Life channel, which is, so basically these are just plastic water containers that I've chopped in half, stuck some drainage holes in the bottom, and filled with compost. It's very, very simple. And I don't know, I mean, it's an experiment, but these can basically stay here until either something happens or it doesn't, in which case I'll simply throw the compost back on the beds. And this, just as you can see, is just starting to bolt, is last year's kaleets. So I'm nearly done with them, but I am still eating them. I mean, that's basically all that on top is extremely edible. So, and this frame is basically where I'm going to put the tomatoes. So another month of this is fine. That's okay. Probably won't be that. It's probably only going to be a week or two looking at those. and then I'll pull them up and actually do some serious weeding. These now, if you can see, yes I think you can, yeah, look, these are my echinacea, what I planted last year. They looked very happy, and this year of course they will flower, so that's going to be very, very exciting. And they've all come up good as gold. Yeah. But I've got various sorts of mustard coming up. Quite a lot of this is mustard. I've got some radishes, and that far row is turnips. So yeah, those are probably going to start producing. I mean, what, they're 4 weeks old now, so they're going to start producing turnips, I would say, in a month's time. Yeah, we're probably going to be, so I'm probably not going to need a lot more. I mean, they're multi-sown as well. I'm probably going to have to thin them out, in fact. Turnips do work multi-sown, but I don't, only up to a point, only up to about 2 or 3 plants, and then they don't really produce any, what do you call them, bottom swellings. They're not really roots, are they? But they don't swell up, and they tend to bolt. Yeah, so it's not really worth having more than 2 or 3 to a stand. The main engine looking a bit like a storage unit at the moment, but not entirely. Look in here, look at that, that is just, there you go, that's abundance for you in a box. And already not really feeling any heat yet, so I'm going to try and get some more grass clippings on top of that, try and work this year on getting the heat up, so it actually does kill off some of those weed seeds. But you know, that's good. So my little bit of heaven. Thank you all for watching as usual. Do like and subscribe, press all those buttons, and oh yeah, you can join my Patreon if you want. All the links in the description below. See you soon.